get any trips planned for 2024?
Thinking of a Scandinavian cruise.
Ooh. You guys ever done anything like that before?
Yeah, we did a Mediterranean cruise.
Mediterranean, okay.
Yeah. We took Oceana Cruise Line because they specialize in small boats. All right? We had 800 staff, 1,200 staff.
So you get good service.
A buddy of mine took a Mediterranean cruise a month later, another cruise line. He had 1,200 staff, 4,000 staff. Yeah.
That's better service.
Actually, Oceana discourages kids. In the brochure, we have no playground equipment. We have no kiddie pool. I mean, they come out and say, we don't want kids. Oh.
Kim. Yeah. I'd like to call to order the East Point Regular Planning Commission meeting for December 7th, 2023. Secretary, please call the roll.
Mr. Broll.
Present.
Ms. Naylor.
Present.
Mr. Lalonde.
Present.
Mr. Lubeck.
Present.
Ms. Moody. Ms. Julinski present.
Ms. Moody is excused. She did email.
And Chairman DeHunt.
Here. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda? We do have one addition, and I would like to see somebody make a motion to add that.
I make a motion to approve the agenda with an addition of item C under new business, and that is the annual disclosure statements that everyone should have in front of them.
We have motion. Do we have support?
Support.
We have motion and support. Secretary, please call the roll.
Mr. Lubeck.
Yes.
Mr. Lalonde.
Yes.
Mr. Broll.
Yes.
Ms. Naylor.
Yes.
Ms. Julinski, yes. And Chairman DeHunt.
Yes. Moving on to item 3, first hearing of the public. If anybody wishes to be heard, they are free. You have 3 minutes. We ask that if you are here to speak on any of the agenda items, that you wait for that public hearing. Otherwise, the floor is yours. Be nice. You got 3 minutes. Does anybody wish to be heard? Anybody wish to be heard? Final call. Anybody wish to be heard? Seeing none, we will close the first hearing of the public. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes of the meeting of November 2nd, 2023?
So moved.
We have motion. Do we have support?
Support.
We have motion and support. Secretary, please call the roll.
Mr. Lubeck.
Yes.
Ms. Naylor.
Yes.
Mr. Broll.
Yes.
Ms. Julinski, yes. Mr. Lalonde.
Yes.
Chairman DeHunt.
Abstain. Item 5, we have no public hearings this evening, so we shall move on to new business. Ms. Brashevsky.
Thanks, Chair. Thanks, everyone, for having me. Good to have you back, Chair, and welcome, Councilmember Poshadlik. Yeah? Okay, cool. Right on. So we are excited to welcome our partners, Community Housing Network, into the room. We're very excited about this agenda item that involves the development of 2 quadplexes on Kelly Road. So on vacant property, they want to develop 2 quadplexes. And a little prelude to what we have within our packet today. I am very excited because I was just preparing the annual planning program and report earlier today. And I see that part of their master plan goals is to create more housing opportunities, like new housing development opportunities. And one of the ways that we created this opportunity to be so easy for a community housing network is that we allow quadplexes to be by right. So they do not need to go through an additional layer of special land use approvals. They are automatically approved as long as they meet the site plan requirements. So I think that's a really a cutting edge opportunity for new housing development and a way to just facilitate more of these types of projects. So congratulations for coming this far. So we have today the Community Housing Network, as I mentioned, seeks to construct 2 quadplexes or 2 4-unit buildings with 2 stories per building. The total project will result in 8 new residential units. Additionally, other site improvements include a parking lot with access to Topher, a dumpster enclosure, a mailbox kiosk, a barrier-free internal sidewalk, bike parking facilities, and utility connections. And as I mentioned earlier in the prelude, the application was submitted, accepted by the Planning Department on November 6, 2023, and the site's located within the Neighborhood Mixed-Use District, which, as I mentioned, allows for quadplexes as automatically permitted uses. And the applicant is here today if we have any questions, and I have a sample motion available.
Commissioners? Any comments, concerns?
Chair, do you wish the applicants up to the podium to present?
Yeah, we can do that. I just wanted to find out first if the commission had any questions or concerns before we put those.
Oh, Chair, if you don't mind, may I add something?
Sure.
Okay, so the Planning Commission last month discussed that we need to revise our landscaping standards, and the Planning Department is actively performing a landscaping analysis of other zoning ordinances to make sure that our tree requirements are not excessive. So we are alarmed that they might be excessive, which is why before us we seek to waive, I think it's like 27 trees? 26 trees? Okay, so we already know that we need to work on this, and we seek a waiver today, and the Planning Department is actively improving the ordinance. Thank you.
Gentlemen, do you wish to be, if you would mind, when you go to the podium, please put your name on the piece of paper there.
I'm going to put a pretty picture up here where you can see it. All right, good evening. My name is CJ Felton. I'm Director of Real Estate Development for Community Housing Network. I have my colleague Dave Rose here with me. I've essentially handled most of the front-end planning on this project. He's going to handle the execution. We're very excited about this. Actually, I should say we're excited to be back in front of you. It's been a long time. I think the last time we were here was maybe a month before COVID.
Aaron
When we
Park,
were-
wasn't it?
Excuse me?
Was it Aaron Park?
It was. We actually had to get an extension on our site plan. So almost 4 years. But it's good to be back. This is a neat project. These are modular apartment buildings. And when you think of modular, some people think of mobile home, and it's very different these days. These are actually built in a factory, climate controlled, which assures a super high level of quality when they leave the factory. I've actually toured one of the Champion Home plants in Indiana, and it's an amazing thing to see. They're transported on trucks, brought to the site. Foundations are already put in. They're installed. They should be probably about 3 to 4 months from when they arrive to when they'll be occupied. So it's far different than building stick-built on sites. There's a misconception about modular that it's less expensive. It's actually not, except for the time factor. And as we know, time is money. So we're just super excited to do this. We've done 2 single-family homes in Pontiac, and I've also been to 3 other installations across the state. And modular is something that is coming. Don't know. Kim, has anybody done anything modular in the city yet?
No, not yet. I thought you guys
Okay.
had planned for Aaron Park, but then COVID came along.
Exactly. So it's coming, and I think you're going to be on the leading edge of what I would call new technology in the construction industry. Do you have any questions for us?
I have a couple questions. So you have two different buildings, right? Different sizes. And I'm curious, if the blueprints I'm looking at, the buildings are a little offset, that they're not square to the parcel. And I was curious why that would be.
It's actually a little misleading. That parcel is not square. So they are aligned to Kelly, but they would not look aligned to Topher.
So they're perpendicular to Kelly?
Yes.
I understand. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I would have known that.
So it's not, if you looked at a parcel map, it would look like they're square lots, but they're not. They're bigger across the back than they are across the front.
Gotcha. It's kind of subtle.
Yeah.
I got you. Okay. That makes sense. And then the other question I had is on the longer building. Well, so first of all, on the smaller building, if I saw the blueprints right, well, the 4 different units are 1 bedroom apiece.
That's correct.
Okay. And then in the longer building, you have 1 bedroom in 1 of the 4 units and 2 bedrooms in 3 units.
Correct.
Curious, why is that, why is the second building different? What is
The second building, we're using federal funds, federal home funds from Macomb County, not entirely, but for a good part of this. If we build 8 units, we're required to have 1 fully accessible unit, an ADA unit. And so in that we'll call it the 2-bedroom building, the longer building, the southernmost unit on the first floor is a 1-bedroom, fully accessible unit. You have to make the kitchen a little bigger, the bathrooms have to be a little bit bigger so you can turn a wheelchair in there.
That's interesting. So that unit is the ADA compliant unit,
Mhm.
if you will. Is that, where is the parking spot that is ADA compliant? Is it, I guess my question is that right next to that unit?
Well, you can see where the hash marks are on the parking lot?
Yep.
And you see the wheelchair symbol just below that? That's the ADA spot.
So why wouldn't the ADA spot be closer to that unit then, on the other side of it seems it's closer to the building that's not the ADA, as the ADA unit. Is there a reason for that?
We could put it over there. I think it's a minimal difference.
It probably is, but it probably makes more sense closer
Sure.
to the ADA unit. So, yeah, I would consider that.
Yeah, that's easily done.
As somebody who's been used to working for a few meetings, anybody who would need it would be appreciated.
Shortest distance is preferable.
Yeah. And I guess my last question is just in regards to the fencing. There is currently fencing around the unit, like I think probably the residents behind the development and then the one to the north both have fences. Are you going to do anything with the fences or just let those go? Like, there are fences there. What's the thought?
Right now, there is chain link fence to the buildings, the properties that are along Topher.
Right?
And Mara, help me out on this, because there was a note about screening in your recommendation. And I don't remember, honestly, if we're required to put a fence, a privacy fence. It would not be a big problem to do that.
Chair? Hi, CJ. Thanks for coming.
Hi, good to see you.
Good to see you. So you already have a screening wall proposed in your site plan. And yes, a screening wall is required between this use and the adjacent use.
And is it required to the adjoining property to the north on Kelly?
To the north on Kelly. Yes,
Okay,
yes. But you already have that proposed.
okay.
Okay. What do we talk, what type of wall is it? Mara?
Say that again?
What type of wall is it that's proposed?
Chair,
Yes.
I'm moving to that portion of the site plan.
Thank you.
know there was a lot of back and forth because of the new zoning ordinance, and I think everybody was getting familiar with everything that needed to be done.
Our planners have made us cutting edge.
I have a big.
It's
what
so
am I
small
doing?
on here. I can make it easy. We'll comply with whatever the city needs us to do.
There we go.
Okay.
Fair enough.
No, these folks have been good partners. I trust them. Does anybody have any questions of the applicants?
Chair, if I may. So within the review, and thanks for bringing this up, Commissioner Broll, within the review, we write that a screening device is not applicable because we require screening devices between non-like uses. And since the neighboring uses are residential and the proposed use is residential, we do not require a screening device. However, if the planning commission seeks to ask the applicant, to require a screening device or recommend that a screening device is provided, that would be okay.
That wasn't my intent. There already are screening devices that are on the lot lines. And actually, the neighbor to the, I guess it'd be to the east, has a nice landscape right there along that fence, and there's trees, and it's really tight. So I'm kind of happy to hear we can use the existing fence.
I actually have a question. Path to ownership, is there a road for the people living in these to own at some point?
Is there a road?
For them to potentially have ownership of the units? Or are these strictly
Oh,
rental?
I'm sorry. No, these will be rental.
Okay,
Well, let's put it this way. They have to be rental for 20 years.
okay.
It's conceivable after 20 years, we might convert them to condos and sell them.
Thank you. Commissioners, do we have any other comments or concerns?
I have a question or two for the planning professional. Okay. So in your review, you brought up the issue of that 11 parking spots is excessive, that there's one too many. And it'd be my opinion that 11 would be fine. And the reason I say that is because, you know, you're talking about a really small amount of pavement and parking lot instead of greenway, right? So that's the trade-off. And I think, you know, with 8 units, if you have friends and family over in 1 or 2 units, you can quickly exceed 10 units. So in my opinion, I would say 11 is fine. I don't know what the other commissioners may feel on that topic.
Concur.
I would concur.
Okay.
Concur.
Makes sense.
Okay. I have one more, I guess it wasn't a question for you then.
Well, Chair,
Please.
we agree.
Oh, you do agree? I thought you were, that position wasn't that you agreed, but okay, maybe I misread that.
The applicant just needs, Chair, the applicant just needs a waiver to allow for, to allow parking over the maximum.
Okay,
That's why we brought it to your
but
attention.
it is your recommendation that?
Yeah, we do recommend.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. And then the other question is that there are 2 buildings here and there are 2 parcels, and my question, I don't know the answer, I'm just curious, have there been other multi-parcel, single developments that we've had where we combine the parcels? Is that a requirement? I feel like we've done that on some, and I'm just curious what your response is to that.
Chair? Yeah, I'll let the applicant speak, but we usually require the applicant to combine their parcels when it's one development, but since these are 2 separate developments, we did not require them to do so.
Our preference would be to combine them.
Okay, well then we can combine them.
For tax purposes only, it's far easier.
Hey, let's do it.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
I believe you said you had a recommended motion that you have prepared,
Yes, but I do have a question.
please.
Okay, thank you. So, we discussed today moving the barrier-free parking space closer to the unit. However, how is this, individual traveling through the parcel? To me, it would seem like this individual would be using the sidewalk, that's the internal sidewalk. So it would be beneficial to keep the accessible parking space closer to the sidewalk, the internal sidewalk.
The parking spot would move north. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, that's what I thought the question was should we move it north of the sidewalk or keep it
Yes.
on the south?
Move it north of the sidewalk if that's where the barrier accessible
yeah,
unit is. Thank you.
okay.
And then you have recommended waiving, was it 27 trees?
Yes, do you want me to
Why don't you read your recommended motion?
form the motion? Okay, thank you. We have a motion to approve the site plan for two-story quadplexes at 21704 and 21718 Kelly Road, parcel IDs 1432402030 and 1432402031, provided that a revised site plan is presented to the city planner to address the comments during planning commission meeting and the required and recommended conditions outlined in the planner's review dated November 30th, 2023, and the required conditions in the engineer's letter dated November 30th, 2023, and based on the fact that the site is generally in compliance with the ordinance. Listed below are some information needed for additional conversation and approvals. So the applicant must provide a maximum impervious lot coverage of 70% or less. The applicant will move the barrier-free space, one parking space north. I'm gonna write that one down. The applicant proposes to use vinyl, we have to discuss this, but the applicant proposes to use vinyl as the primary and only facade material. Vinyl is only permitted as an accent material in the ordinance. The applicant seeks a waiver, which the planning commission has the right to do. But the planning department suggests a compromise allowing the applicant to use vinyl, but must only use vinyl as an accent material along the facades that front Kelly and Topher. So that's something to talk about, but I'll continue through this motion. The planning department recommends that the applicant add garden areas within the inner green space between the two quadplexes. The applicant seeks to install 11-space parking lot with one van accessible parking space. The planning commission recommends to allow them over maximum parking of 11 spaces. The applicant must provide a photometric plan that meets ordinance requirements. The applicant must meet the requirements of the landscaping ordinance. To meet the requirements, we recommend and require a waiver of 26 deciduous or evergreen trees. The applicant must plant, or we recommend that they plant an additional 4 deciduous trees, we require that the applicant plants an additional 4 deciduous trees in lieu of the 4 Magnifica hackberry ornamental flowering trees. The applicant plants an additional 6 shrubs. Those are to meet the 4 deciduous tree requirements. So the hackberry is an ornamental tree, so we suggest that they swap those out. And then the applicant must add additional 6 shrubs to meet the requirements. The applicant provides flowering plants and grasses. So the applicant right now does not have flowering plants and grasses, so we recommend that they provide them. And within this shared green space between the quadplexes, the applicant must meet the screening device requirements for a parking lot. The applicant must provide the dimensions of the landscape beds, which must be 3 feet wide. The applicant proves that a pressure-treated wooden dumpster gate is similar in durability to a wood composite gate, and the applicant provides a 10-foot concrete apron for the dumpster.
It's a hell of a motion.
Yeah, I got some things to talk about, but.
I will make that motion, but I believe something needs to be added, is that at the applicant's request, the parcels be combined.
Okay.
And anything that you wish to, such as the vinyl and all that, could all be handled administratively?
Chair, can you repeat that?
So the issues with the vinyl as an accent piece, could all of those items be handled administratively?
Sure, yes, they can, but I think it's important for the planning commission to discuss if they want to accept vinyl as a facade material, or if they like the compromise proposed by the planning department to allow for vinyl as accent materials along the facade, the major corridor facades.
Point of order.
Please.
There's a motion on the floor. It probably should be supported before we have further discussion.
So we have a motion. Do we have support?
Support.
We have motion and support.
Question.
So let's talk about the vinyl.
Questions. I guess I had a question too, just make sure I'm understanding the planning recommendation of the accent along the Kelly and Topher. So you're asking for them to use different coloration on those two sides of the building? And the rest of the building just be 100%? I'm just not understanding how it's accenting when all four facades seems to be vinyl. My mic not on? I'm sorry. I mean, what is the difference with that proposal? You're saying, but only use vinyl as an accent. Maybe you can describe, because you mean just color accent?
I'm gonna hold that up, Dave. Okay, so this is an installation in Grand Rapids that is very representative of what we are going to do, except this is a 3-unit building. This building will be very similar, except it will have a peaked roof. But these are the exact colors that we have selected for the two buildings. This is all vinyl on this. What we have, I think, proposed in front of you is that we use fiber cement siding here, which is permitted, that's a permitted material in that district. And this trim that you see is a product called AZEK, which is a wood trim. So there would be no vinyl on the front. And then, Mara, maybe a clarification. We're talking about putting that same fiber cement siding here, correct? Facing Topher. And then how about on this building? Because that's a longer building, and you've got 12 feet of that building that would be visible from Topher. It's not a significant cost change for us to do that.
Chair?
Please.
Thank you. Fiber cement paneling is an allowable primary and accent material.
Sorry.
That's my point. Fiber cement paneling is an allowed primary and accent material.
Okay.
And it would actually be fiber cement lap siding, so it will look just like this. Just a
Okay.
different material.
Chair?
Please.
So the question from the applicant was, do we want to require the applicant to provide the fiber cement paneling on the inner south facade of the northernmost building?
I'm all about aesthetically pleasing and being harmonious with the community. And if it's going to make it look better, sorry, I'd like you to spend a little extra money.
My opinion would be, I don't think unless you're standing right in front of it, if you're 50 feet away, I don't think you would ever know the difference. So as from an aesthetic standpoint, they're pretty identical.
From a resilience standpoint,
Fiber cement will be more resilient.
And what is going to be on the north side of those buildings?
The way we have it proposed in the compromise that we came up with is that would be vinyl.
east side or rear of those buildings?
Well, the east side, the rear would be vinyl also. The front facing Kelly would be the fiber cement lap siding, and then this definitely, I think we're having the conversation about this building right now.
Chair, I've got a question.
Please.
So if I understand you, because that second building is longer, if someone was to view those two buildings from Topher, we're going to see about 12 feet of that second building extending. So that you're saying just make them both sides uniform, because from a Topher view?
If you were, let's say if you were standing at the apron, the driveway apron.
Correct.
You're going to see the first building, and you're going to see
The second.
12 feet of the second building. From
I would
Topher.
say make them uniform, if we could put the same on both of those sides of the building, because you would be seeing them visibly. Just may look more appealing.
And we can do that.
I defer to Commissioner Naylor because that's her business.
Yeah, I think that will settle the aesthetics look. And
Okay, so if I'm understanding this, we are proposing two buildings, each having two sides of differing materials.
I think it's more of an accent of the two materials.
And what is the planning professional's opinion on that?
Chair? Oh, yeah, we recommend that the sides abutting Topher and Kelly have this fiber cement siding, and including the northern building, south facade.
All right. Any further discussion on this? We do have a motion and we do have support.
I'm good.
So is the motion clear on this topic? Do we need to make that a line item, or is that clear based on our discussion?
It was spelled out in line 2, we just was giving clarification.
Line 2.
Chair?
Please.
I can add a proposed amendment to the motion.
Please.
Okay, so we require the applicant to use fiber cement siding along the facades facing Topher and Kelly, and the eastern facade of the northernmost building. I'm sorry, southern facade of the northernmost building.
Do we also need to have a amendment for the ADA spot, because we have a blueprint that shows it in one spot, it should be noted.
She addressed that.
Address it as a line item on the motion?
It
Yeah.
was.
Okay, that was on the, I know you did address it, I didn't realize that was on the motion.
Yeah.
Okay,
And we have the addition of the combining the parcels.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. We have motion and support. Secretary, please call the roll.
Mr. Lubek,
Yes.
Ms. Naylor,
Yes.
Mr. Broll,
yes.
Mr. Lalonde,
Yes.
Ms. Julinski, yes. Chairman DeHunt,
Yes. In the interest of brevity and respect to our zoning board of appeals guests today, I'm wondering if we need to table item B as we are at 7:33.
Chairman, I'll make a motion to table the remainder of our agenda until after we complete the Joint Planning Commission and Zoning Board of Appeals special meeting.
I'll support that.
We have motion and support.
Chair, I have a comment.
Okay.
Okay, thanks.
Typically
there's
not
only-
allowed on a motion to table
Okay.
with support.
We have motion and support. Secretary, please call the roll.
Mr. Lubek,
Yes.
Mr. Broll,
Yes.
Ms. Naylor,
Yes.
Mr. Lalonde,
Yes.
Ms. Julinski, no. Chairman DeHunt,
Yes. And then we will move on to the second hearing of the public.
No, we've tabled the remainder of the agenda till.
All right. So then we're going to.
Chair,
Yes.
if I may, we would want to approve the calendar because it changes the January date, to push it back 1 week, if we could do that. Because the capital improvement plan will be brought before Planning Commission, so we wanted to move it from the first Thursday to the second, if we could.
All right, so maybe we should have like a short meeting immediately after training? Can we do that?
Well,
I thought you just adjourned it to after the joint meeting.
we just tabled the remainder of the agenda until after the joint meeting, so we are going to get it to it just later this evening.
All right. Can I get a motion to adjourn the meeting at 7:35?
I'll make that motion.
We have
I'll
motion.
support.
We have motion support. Secretary, please call the roll.
Mr. Lalonde?
Yes.
Mr. Lubak?
Yes.
Mr. Broll?
Yes.
Ms. Moody? Or Ms. Naylor?
Yes.
Ms. Julinski, yes. Chairman DeHunt?
Yes. How about we take 5 minutes and then reconvene for the joint meeting?